Hello folks, my name is Dustin McCaskill, and if you've come across this video, there's a good chance that you've Googled your federal probation officer, Scott Phillips, aka Branndon Scott Phillips. I'm here today to tell you about your probation officer. Be very, very careful. In December of 2016, I started federal probation, 3-year stint on federal probation. Went a little over 2.5 years without a glitch. Approximately 2.5 years. Me and Scott got into a little conflict, a little argument. He had come into my home and searched through my mother's belongings in her bathroom, went through her drawers and her personal, possessions and property. She's allowed to have her own space. She's not on probation. She has constitutional rights. So, she doesn't need to be searched. So we had a little altercation about that, and that escalated into Scott accusing me of assault. He actually accused me of assault. He accused me of assaulting him through email and text message threats. So here's what happened. He had me arrested on allegations of assaulting him, and also for some minor violations. I had one failed UA for marijuana, and one instance of drinking. Nothing to go to prison for, right? So he has me arrested for assault. The U.S. Marshals pick me up, and so I go to prison, or I go to detention, and then we have the revocation hearing. On the day of the revocation hearing, the U.S. Marshals gang stalked, essentially, my key witness at the courthouse. They were waiting for her to show up at the courthouse so she couldn't come in and testify in my defense. I had no witness. That witness was my mom, so they had a personal vendetta. They didn't want her coming in, and I'll tell you why. Those phone calls and these encounters with Scott were recorded. I record my encounters with Scott. Anytime, if I go into his office, it's recorded. I can do that. That's legal. He comes to my home, I've got a secret camera set up and it's recorded. And I make sure it's in a good location, and I try to keep them, herded, I guess, into that location so that camera picks up our conversation and he's on it. Now, in Nevada, it is legal to secretly record people, in their office, in your home, or wherever. But on the telephone, you do need consent. And guess what? I did get consent from Scott for that too, because he knows I'm a reporter. So anyway, he accuses me of assault. The judge sides with him. I get sent to prison for 10.5 months for, assaulting him and smoking pot one time in an instance of drinking. So, but it was for the assault. But what I'm here today to tell you, this is for you, is to record your encounters with your probation officer, Scott Phillips. Any probation officer, any police officer, you need to record your encounter. Here's what's important. I went to prison. 10 months later, the Ninth Circuit Federal Court of Appeals heard my case about assaulting Scott. They vindicated me. They exonerated me. I was released from prison for those false allegations that Scott made against me. Because they were false. It was ridiculous. It was outrageous. The 3-panel judge in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal actually sent a message back to the Nevada prosecutor's office and Nevada's chief federal judge to essentially quit wasting their fucking time. So here's what's going to happen. At this point, I am pursuing a federal civil rights lawsuit against Scott Phillips. We're going to federal court. I'm suing him. That's just the only recourse because apparently accountability is lacking, right? I filed a formal complaint against him, but that's okay. That's standard procedure for them to cover for their own. But here's what needs to happen if you have a problem with Scott Phillips. You have to file a formal complaint. And what that is, it's simple. You write out a complaint of your grievances against Scott. You don't go to his boss. You don't go to his boss at the probation office. No. We go over. His boss is actually the Chief Justice, and that's Gloria Navarro. You want to send your formal complaint, certified mail, to Gloria Navarro and request an investigation respectfully request an investigation into your allegations of misconduct against Scott Phillips. We have to develop a pattern on this individual. He's going to keep sending people to prison. I have people contact me all the time that are on probation because I posted his name online and they've seen where I've done that, and they've wanted to talk to me about their probation officer. I'm not going to go into details on their stories because, for obvious reasons, I don't want Scott to see this video and retaliate. So if anybody ever wants to contact me, you can. Just please record your encounters, and if you're ever revoked, never concede. First off, tell your attorney, I do not concede. Make him go to court. Make him go to court and get up on that stand and lie. Make him do it. And the only reason, folks, the only reason that I have a federal civil rights lawsuit going against Scott Phillips is because I recorded my encounters with him. And that's what you have to do to win. Sure, yeah, he sent me to prison, but it's not over. He's getting that federal civil rights lawsuit slapped on him in his individual capacity. And that's the only justice. I don't even want to do it, but that's the only justice that there is. If they would hold their own accountable, I wouldn't even care. But that's the only justice. Never concede to the allegations. That means never admit it. Never just say, okay, yeah, I did this. No, you fight the allegations in court, make them, and then appeal like I did, and get out of prison like I did. I got out of prison on appeal because Scott lied, and now I'm suing. And I'm here to tell you about that because I want you to protect yourself. One last thing. Scott does not like to communicate via email or text messages, and there is a reason for that. It's documented. He can't control the narrative when it's documented. If you're on the phone and you're not recording him or whatever, he can say you said this, said that, whatever. Well, that's what he did to me, and I went to prison. Well, I recorded it, and that's why I'm suing now and got out of prison, right? But you have to, he does not want email or text. If I were you, I would only communicate with him email or text. That's all I ever did. Rarely, a few times I talked to him on the phone. And on that few times I talked to him on the phone, he tried to lie. He tried to lie and say I threatened him in that phone call that was recorded. But that's okay. I'm just telling you, protect yourself. He's dangerous. He's a threat. And, you looked him up. I hope you found what you were looking for.